talk about pulse investigation. Alright, so what things do you investigate with pulse? Well, you measure heart rate, rhythm, radio-femoral delay, radial-femoral delay, your carotid artery pulse, your jugular venous pulse, your JVP, or jugular venous pressure I should say. Some people call that pulse. And you also look into peripheral vascular disease. Alright, so there's a lot you do. So we'll start off with the real basics of measuring heart rate. This is normally done at your radial pulse. This is normally done at your radial pulse, or brachial if you can't get your radial, or at the carotid. But carotid should be avoided, just because there's some dangers. Excessive pressure can block blood through the brain if you do both sides at once. Or massaging the the carotids can stimulate the baroreceptors, and that can cause a faint. Okay, so radial, and that's pretty simple. Normally 30 seconds is how you're meant to do it, times it by 2. So measure for 30 seconds and times 2. Okay, so while you're doing this, also you need to, so at the radial pulse, for example, you also look at the rhythm, and you comment on whether it's regular or irregular. So you want it to be regular. Generally regular is good, or it can be irregular. Now with irregular, it can be two types of irregular. It can be regular irregular, and this can indicate sinus arrhythmia, and something called Wankel back phenomenon. Okay, whereas a irregularly irregular, which is a bit of a wordful, regularly irregular, is very suggestive of atrial fibrillation, or AFib. So that's why you need to always comment and actually look for the rhythm of the pulse that you measure. Alright, so what else what are we going to do? While we're on the radial, we're going to talk about the radial-femoral delay. So here you feel the radial and the femoral at the same time, and you feel for a delay. In a healthy person, there should be no delay. Equals normal. So a delay can indicate a coarctation of the aorta, which is essentially a lesion that can cause upper limb hypertension. Okay, go back here. Alright, so carotid artery pulses tells us about the aorta plus left ventricular function. When you're measuring it, you need to look at shape, volume, amplitude. It's quite complex. I'm just going to write C tele, tele O'Connor for more. Yeah. Alright, for next I'm going to talk about the JVP. Some people call it jugular venous pulse, others jugular venous pressure, so I'm just going to talk about it here with the other pulses. Okay, the JV is important because there's actually no valves between this jugular vein and the right atrium. So in a way it's can very much tell us about the right atrium, as well as the right ventricle, and that's because it's essentially continuous with the right atrium. Alright, so what you need to do when you're looking at the JVP is you need to make sure you have it. Have the patient in 45 degree on bed, relaxed, because you don't want their sternomastoid muscle. You don't want any of the muscles in their neck popping out and getting in your way. So that's why you have them in a relaxed position with their head down on the bed at 45 degrees. So when you actually locate the JVP, you need to assess its height, high can indicate right ventricle failure, or volume overload. Yep. Alright. And some other things. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now. But again, see tally for more. Alright. Next I want to talk about peripheral vascular disease. Alright, so peripheral vascular disease is pretty much what it says. It's problems of your vascular and your peripheral system, most commonly your legs. So really, just to quickly go over it, here's a drawing from one of our lectures, and if you can imagine what I'm drawing here, you might be able to tell it's a person's lower half. Yep, that's what it is, with my great drawing. So we have the femoral, the femoral here, popliteal pulse, the posterior tibial, that's your ankle, here, and your dorsal pedis there. Okay. And so if you're measuring a person, you measure these pulses and comment on what you feel or hear. So I'm just gonna, with say your plus equals normal, you can feel it, plus and the minus reduced, or 0 absent, and stupid symbol being a brewy. Okay, so for example, if we have someone and we looking at the left side, plus here, plus at your popliteal, I'll change colours actually. Yeah, plus here, a plus there, and a little plus here, and a plus here. That means that all the pulses, your femoral, your popliteal, your posterior tibial, and your dorsal pedis are all there and normal. And then if you're on the other side, we write this means that at your femoral on the patient's left side actually, so this is their right and this is their left. So here on the left side, you detect a brewy, and then at their popliteal, they still have normal, but then when we look here at their dorsal pedis and their posterior tibial ankle, say if you feel nothing, that's a 0 absent, and this person has some obvious peripheral vascular disease, which you're going to need to treat. Okay, I think that's it actually. Yeah. So all pretty simple. That's your